sitting in my freezer.
I'm going to call the regular meeting of the White Bear Lake Conservation District to order for February 20th, 2018. We have a quorum, and we've called the meeting to order. So let me, before we go on to the approval of the agenda, I'm just going to make some introductions. The first one is Kim Johnson, our new administrative assistant. Welcome, Kim.
Thank you. Thank you.
And and thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And thank you for being on board. The second one, we have a couple of new board members that are starting with us. One is Marty Rathmanner from Delwood, and the other is Barton Winter from Birchwood. So welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll move on to the third item on the agenda, and that's approval of the agenda. Does anybody have any modifications that they would like to see to the agenda? Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. So we have, next item on the agenda is approval of prior board meetings minutes. The first one is from January 16th meeting of 2018. And does anybody have any adjustments they would like to see in those minutes? Mike?
Yes, on the second page, 8C1, ice over, and I reported that the ice over was December 10th, and it says during the discussion of definition of ice over, and then in parentheses, there is a definition of ice over, which is not what I said. It says a full, stable ice coverage of lake. And I did not say stable. In fact, we actually debated the stability of having the ice covered over, how safe it was. We were a little hesitant in when you say ice over, and that people might get the idea that it is stable. So I would like to just strike the word stable from that. Everything else is fine.
Okay. Any other adjustments to the minutes? Okay, would anybody like to make a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the January 16th, 2018 meeting minutes. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The minutes are approved. The next item is approval of the minutes from a special meeting conducted January 2015, 2018. That meeting had two topics. One was to get approval on the hire of a new administrative assistant, and the second was to get approval for some funding for some QuickBooks training. Any modifications appropriate for those minutes?
Got one under the first page there, under the agenda, motion to Cortland Mary, that should be Courtney Mary.
Oh, you're right.
Okay, any others? Would anybody like to make a motion to approve?
I move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the meeting minutes from the January 25th, 2018 meeting. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Those minutes are approved. Next item on the agenda, public comment time. Anybody in the public like to make comments?
100%.
So just give us your name and address, Larry, please.
Larry Mahoney, 479 Lake Avenue, Birchwood. I, as you recall, was here a month ago. I'm back on a similar topic. And I do have a question first. I'd like to make sure that the public comment is recorded in the minutes so that grievances become part of the record.
Sure.
So last month, I came and reminded this board that they were supposed to receive a written certification of the lot width from the Harrods pursuant to the order from last summer. And at that time, the board had requested that a letter be sent to the Harrods, you know, so that they have that by tonight. And I've been trying for 2.5 weeks to find out if anything has happened on that stuff. A copy of the letter, something. Unable to get anything until about 5 minutes ago. I did get what they provided, and I'll go through that in a minute. It's frustrating because I feel like the board has consistently treated them with kids' gloves, and they go all out after us. Last summer, we got notice to move our dock. We were leaving the country in 5 days. We were refused an extension, threatened with having the sheriff come out and issue us a citation. And with this stuff, it doesn't seem important. What I did get when I requested copies of what went to the Harrods is I got a copy of a letter that was sent last summer and some stuff regarding the Harrods dock that I'd never seen before. And it had a little Post-it note written on it. Nobody signed it. I don't know who it's from. It says, Mr. and Mrs. Mahoney, FYI. Since you had questioned if anything was needed to be done, here is reference to the issue being closed and contact attorney if needed. I don't know what that means. I don't know who signed it. Did anybody send it?
It came from Mary, and I,
Okay. Well, Alan showed me what was provided just a couple of minutes ago, and I'm just going to read a couple of pieces off of it. It starts out with, here is Ramsey County's website information per your request. That's not what they were asked for. They were asked for written certification of the width of their lot. And then after that, it says, the information is off the county website. The information may be correct or incorrect. In submitting this information, we neither agree or disagree with the information. In one place it says, it's a pie-shaped lot, the information is incorrect because it states the front and the back are the same. I agree with that, but this is meaningless. This is not what you asked them to provide. And I'm simply asking that you treat us fairly. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you, Larry. On to item 6, new business. I don't think we have any new business tonight. To item 7 on the agenda, unfinished business. No unfinished business. So we're on to item 8, reports and action items. And sorry I jumped the queue here, Kim.
That's okay.
But welcome again, Kim Johnson.
thank you.
And then we're on to election of officers for 2018. I think, well, at the last meeting, a motion was made nominating Brian DeSmit as the chair, Mark Gans as the vice chair, and Diane Longville as the secretary-treasurer. And I will ask if there are any additional nominations for those positions. I'll ask a second time, are there any additional nominations for those positions? And I'll ask a third time, are there any additional nominations for those positions? Hearing none, I'll close the nominations for the positions, and I'll call for a vote once we get some guidance from our attorney.
Mr. Chair, I think at this point, since there are no contested seats, up, you can entertain a vote to pass the slate as presented to the board.
So I'll make a motion, I will entertain a motion to pass this slate of nominated positions, for these nominated positions.
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. Thank you all. Committee chairs, at the March meeting, we will assign the committee chair positions and the committee members, and I have that right, don't I? Is that how we typically do that? Yep, next month. And I would prefer that everybody on the board serve on one of the committees. That would be my preference. So I'll be contacting each of you over the next month just to see if there's a committee that interests you, and then we will assign those committees at our next meeting.
Is there a list of those committees somewhere to be reviewed?
Yes, and we can talk about those really very quickly. There's the Lake Utilization Committee. Mark is the current chair of that committee, and that committee reviews dock applications and basically handles those types of issues.
Regattas, things like that.
Activities on the lake, that type of thing. There is the Lake Quality Committee that Mike Pronto is currently the chair of, and maybe it'd be better, Mike, could you just talk about what your committee does?
Well, we handle water quality issues, monitor water quality. We handle all the weed treatments for Eurasian water milfoil permits, grants, except there aren't any this year, as far as doing surveys and having treatments done. If there was a treatment, and I know they're working on it for something like zebra mussels, we'd also handle that. And any new invasive species, and then boat inspection grants come through that also. And any water quality issues that come along.
Thank you.
And then the Lake Education Committee, and the chair of that committee is Scott Costello. And Scott, would you like to say something about that committee?
Yeah, the Education Committee, we do a few things. We're mostly right now responsible for the website and social media. We also work with the Boy Scouts on the lake cleanup effort, which will be next month. In the past, we have done some things like issue a brochure on zebra mussels, and we could potentially do educational events. We haven't done too much in the past year, but with excited people on board who want to organize that sort of thing, that would be great.
Okay, and then and those are the three active committees. There's one additional committee, and that's the Lake Level Resolution Committee. And that committee was active with a specific agenda of evaluating options for addressing the lake level. That committee had 2 members last year. They didn't hold a meeting, and then both of those members left the board. And so my opinion is that committee, and I've made this motion, although it was not approved, that committee has served its purpose. If somebody wanted to get that committee active again, I would be supportive of that, and I think that's about it for that.
Who were those 2 people?
Gene Allstat and Pat
McCann.
McCann. Okay, so moving on to the next item, these are the committee reports. The lake level and I should mention, the executive committee is made up of the chair, the vice chair, and the treasurer. The lake level resolution committee is inactive, so the next item is a report from the lake quality committee. Mike?
Oh, I'm sorry, I was reading something here. Okay, wait, what was that? What am I supposed to do? I'm sorry.
Report.
Report, oh, okay. Guess what? This time of year, I don't have a report. Everything's frozen over. And we're gonna have, there's even more ice making with more cold weather coming. It's just like the old days.
Yeah, and typically Mike would let us know water level, water temperature, and those parameters relative to last month. But because it's frozen over, that's where we are.
Okay.
So on to the next one, Lake Utilization Committee. Mark?
Mr. Chair and Board, we have two docs up for approval. The first one is Tally's Dockside. We approved it, but felt that in the past, we have not charged them for, they have some pontoons that they rent out. And it was our committee's decision that we should pass their application with the caveat that they do have to pay the $50 slip fee for the year for the pontoon boats that they rent out. And I so move, or discussion.
I'll second it, and then we can have a discussion.
Yeah, so we have a motion and a second, and if I understand the motion correctly, to approve the application with the condition that an additional $50 is for the pontoon slips is added. So any discussion? Mike?
Where do the fishing boats fall in, which he also rents out?
From talking to George St. Germain, who's the other member who's been on the utilization committee forever, and I haven't seen it, I guess we could try to dig it up, but it was said that that the 14-foot fishing boats, that they're not at slips, they're just,
Those are, I think, the
Put 'em on
tie-ons.
the dock.
Those are the tie-ons.
I thought the tie-ons were on the, just to tie up for fuel and to run up on the gas dock.
I wouldn't think you'd count that in his count, though. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
we're just talking.
We could clarify that, but for sure, those pontoon boats are sitting in boat slips. And where the fishing boats get pulled up onto the docks.
Right. Well, they get them ready, they tie them off.
Right.
So people can just jump in them.
Right.
So, I just kind of thought tie-ons, but I don't know.
So that was, and George told me that at some point in the past, they thought the 14-foot, they're 14-foot Alumacrafts with, I don't know what size, 10, 15 horse motors on the back. That was actually more of a service for the community to be able to afford to go out and fish on the lake and things like that, where the pontoon boats are, they're charging somewhere around $68 an hour to rent those out.
Yeah.
And they do take up slips. They're actually sitting in the water overnight continuously throughout the season.
Right, right.
So that was our thought.
Okay.
Alan, do you have anything to add to the discussion?
Chair and board, I think just because of the issues that have occurred in that commercial bay, what I didn't hear in the motion was the total number of rental slips that are being approved, because numbers seem to really matter. So what does that break down to as far as how many slips you're permitting? Do you have a number?
The number he permitted is 65. That's total. That's with his service boats, one for personal use, 42 commercial rental slips, plus his rental boats. And it comes to 65. But 42 is the total for rentals for the seasons for personal craft.
Third-party rentals?
Third-party rentals,
Okay.
yes, sir.
As long as it's delineated somehow so we can say this is what was approved. Because I know people count heads later on in the summer. So, thank you.
In the letter from the city of in the letter from the city of White Bear Lake, it looks like 42 seasonal slips plus 16 rental and 4 transient slips equals 62 watercraft, and the application to the Conservation District requests 65 watercraft.
And the payment was, we did the easy math, and it was for 42. That's what they're getting charged for, is the 42 third-party rentals on the application.
And you're saying next year you're going to charge them for the pontoons?
I think this year.
Oh, this year, okay.
Yeah, we'd like to ask them to pay for the pontoons,
That's in addition to the 42.
in addition to the 42 current. So we would add, I don't know the exact count of the pontoons, he just put rental boat, so I don't know which ones are fishing and which ones aren't. I believe there's about 6, but we'll find out, and I think $50 for, if you're going to rent something out at $68 an hour, $50 for the season doesn't seem too outrageous, we felt, so.
And Mark, is that $50 per slip?
Yeah, the conservation charges $50 per slip.
The fishing boats are not cheap either. They're not $5 or $10. I mean, I think you have to minimum $75.
It's, I looked at 20, the smaller one was 24. There is some,
24.
it looks like there's a premier fishing boat.
Yeah.
I don't know about
Yeah,
that, so.
that's like a bass boat.
Okay.
They've got
And
that.
that one, yeah, we could add that next year maybe, but, or
Just
this year.
you
We
want
could
me
add
to
it this year if you want me to, if you want to add the premier boats to the thing. I think in the past, what we've told them, the little 14-foot, Alumacrafts that he just sort of stacks up like cordwood overnight, that we felt that, and I did look, I think those they start at $24 for the first 2 hours or something like that.
Okay,
And so,
okay. Yeah.
and we had told them in the past, made an agreement that those would not be charged, but since then, these premier fishing boat and pontoons, so I'd like to amend it to also add the premier fishing boats.
Okay.
Would it make sense to table this item until next month, which would be March, and would still give them plenty of time? I doubt that we're going to have ice out and docks in before our March meeting. And so would it make sense to table this item until we get some certain clarity on numbers of the different types of boats? Alan?
Chair, I think that's appropriate, as well as having the applicant ask for what it is that, I wouldn't go adding things to their application at this point. So if he doesn't know that we're doing that, Keith should, well, he has a right to know that that's how he's being treated. And so if he doesn't want that as part of the application, he would have the choice of saying, okay, I won't use it. So I think we should run that by the applicant for sure.
Okay, and Mark and Mike, since you made the motions, are you okay with us tabling?
Absolutely. If you
sir.
want me to withdraw my second, I will.
I'll withdraw my motion.
And just move to table, or just table it, Chair.
Okay, so we'll table this until next month's meeting, and Mark, can you?
I'll contact Keith and find out exactly what boats are what, and
Perfect.
explain to him that we'd like to charge for the premium boats.
Okay,
And bring us a number, obviously.
Yes.
Excuse me, Mark, for those of us that are new, is it, so the 42 slips that are private boats, are those also $50 each, or is there some other charge on those?
Yeah, correct. So anything in the commercial bay, a slip, no matter if it's the city of White Bear Lakes docks or Tallies or McGoldrick's, it's $50 per slip for any commercial rental. And then for the private docks, it's anything over 4 boats is $50 a year and has to be licensed.
Okay, thank you.
So next on the agenda is the VFW. Same as last year, no changes. My committee approved, and I so motion.
Second. Excuse me, second.
so we have a motion and a second to approve the dock application from the VFW. Is any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. Any questions for Mark? Okay, we'll move on to the Lake Education Committee. Scott.
Okay, few items here. First is we have the lake cleanup scheduled for March 10th at 10 a.m., organized by the Boy Scouts. The information for that is on the website. Any and all board members are invited to come and pick up trash. This is out on the lake surface. The last 2 years, it was actually melted out. We couldn't get out on the ice. I think we'll have better luck this year. And the VFW serves free lunch to everyone about noon. That's enough there. Status of the website. We have our monthly report. I don't think we made copies, and I think that's probably okay. I don't know if anyone ever read this. But I'll make the a point here is John Harrington writes, the most dramatic and clear metric is the 67.83% decrease in unique visitors January 2018 compared to January 2017. This could be concerning as the second month of website traffic decrease. However, this indicates to me to be a stabilization and normalization. Frankly, the numbers we were seeing in 2017 seem quite incredible and were actually never really justified such high website traffic. For a community size of White Bear Lake, unique visitors greater than 1,000 per month for a municipal website is respectable. So then he concludes by saying, with our new admin resource, your leadership, and possible website redesign to support regular fresh content and some addition to Facebook and Twitter in 2018 looks outstanding. So that's from our website provider, which does lead me to this item that we passed out here. I introduced this last month. This is a proposal to do a revamp of the website with additional training. Now that we have a new admin on board, I think it's quite advisable. What the total amount is for the training and the redesign comes up to $3,500, which I think is a bit more than what we have in the Education Committee budget. So I would like to move that we approve the amount of up to $3,500, taking first from the Education Committee budget and any overage from our cash reserves.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. So any discussion? And I'll just get us started. Scott, can you just walk us through how we get to the 3,500 from this proposal? That
Okay,
we have
there's
in front
three
of us?
pieces there. If you look at like the little greater than signs under executive summary, it's the first three that we're interested in. The first part is website development, social prep at $50 an hour, not to exceed 16 hours, or 800. Okay, written content by a third-party tech writing company, which not to exceed 10 hours or $600. And then ongoing unlimited remote training and support, which would cover training any of us plus our administrator and how to update that website directly in the redesign. And that's 2,100. And when you add all those together, 800, 600, and 2,100, if my math is right, that should be 3,500.
That's right. And just as a bit of background for the new members, historically, and Scott, you correct me if I misspeak, please. Historically, we've relied on our web provider to make changes to the website. And we would like to change that so that our administrative assistant can make changes to the website on our behalf. And the benefit of that, from my perspective, is that gives us more timely updates to the website. It can make it more appealing, useful to the members of the community. So that seems like a good expenditure to me.
Yeah, our website is, was refreshed like 3 years ago, and it's due, because what happens is that if things don't change fast enough, or if it's poorly designed to find the information people want. We did improve it a bit 3 years ago, but, for example, we have a scrolling bunch of pictures. It's the same pictures we had three years ago. So we have some really outdated junk on there. So it's really time to do this, I think.
Right, and I think another benefit is that Kim has experience with websites. So I think that's a nice, I think that's helpful in any case.
Yeah. And it will all tie together with the social media. Right now, we have a Twitter account that's not used. We do not have a Facebook page at all, which is actually 3 times more popular than Twitter. So we need to do that. Now, if we approve this 3,500, there is a payment schedule. But we probably wouldn't sign until we're going to have to talk to them a little bit, because you'll see on the back side of the first page, there's a thing, add special request before accepting the proposal. So what we need, right now I can't think of any special requests. I think we need to have a conversation with them. So all I'm asking is your approval for up to 3,500, and if we get into some additional requests, if anyone has ever had computer work done, there's, special requests that can add up, but right now I don't foresee any.
Okay, and Scott, do you have an idea of how much of the 3,500 is available in the Education Committee's budget?
I don't have a budget with me.
Yeah, I don't have that in front of me.
Okay. But some. Marty?
Scott, well, I'm just curious on how did is this the company that has always been in charge of the website? Are we looking at other companies? Are we doing a couple bids to see if there's a better option, or is this just what we're doing?
I'm pretty confident, they have the domain.
Scott, would you
They
mind
run
just-
our email. They only charge us $50 a month.
Okay.
I guess I'm pretty satisfied. I don't think we need to do that.
Okay.
Open up for bids. That would be more work than I'd care to do at this point.
Right. And really, Kim, are you comfortable with these people?
I don't know them.
Oh, you don't know? Okay. Because she's going to be the one learning the website and
I
making
think,
changes.
I think historically, this company has provided us seemingly very good service for a pretty low price.
Okay.
And, I don't think that should preclude us looking for options down the road. But at this point, with new admin assistant on board, it might make sense to continue on with the current provider. And then when Kim gets familiar with it, if, or if any of the other board members become familiar with the website and they think that there might be good opportunities or options out there, and then maybe we can have that discussion. And Diane?
This won't change our $50 a month that we pay to them. Because
No.
according to what it says in here, that's not going to change.
That's not going to change.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to approve up to $3,500 for these services. Any further discussion? Okay, I'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I,
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that motion passes.
okay. And that's about it. I did meet with the city about hearing accessibility in this council chambers. You might notice I'm trying to use this one, looks like it wasn't properly recharged. But we met, the city is planning on engaging with an audio company to upgrade the whole system.
Oh, nice.
They'll also be adding another video screen somehow. I didn't stay for that part of the meeting, but I'm glad that the city is helping improve the facility here. That's all I have.
Any questions for Scott? Okay, moving on with the agenda, the treasurer's report. Diane?
Treasurer's report for February 2018. I'd like to make a motion to accept checks 4470 through 4476.
Second?
So we have a motion and a second to approve these checks. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes.
That's all I have, thank you.
Board council report. Alan?
Thank you, Chair and Board. No activity through the courts, which is primarily what I tend to report on for the new members of the board. Needless to say, it's a little more active in the summertime. Wintertime, we usually see people that are on snow machines and whatnot that are screwing around, the odd DUI from Fisher people coming in and out of the lake, but nothing this winter I'm happy to report. So I'd stand for questions.
Any questions for Alan? Thank you, Alan.
Thanks, Board.
Consent agenda. Diane?
I'd like to make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Second?
Motion and a second to accept the consent agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Announcements. So Kim, do you have any announcements for us?
The only thing that I have is, you got a little postcard thanking you from Fishing for Life. Here we go, I'll read it to you. It says, "Thank you for all your support and for Holes for Heroes. We could not do it without you." For everybody. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. And so just to further the announcements, Kim has offered up some ideas for the administrative assistant position, and the executive committee will take up those items and then bring recommendations to the board for approval at a future meeting. I would like to try to schedule a work session to discuss the procedures and the activities of the board, basically as an educational opportunity for the new members and the more experienced members to ask questions and get information on how the board functions, how we typically handle meetings, our ordinances, and how those were developed. So I will work with Kim to offer up some dates for that, and then hopefully we can get some consensus on a date and have a meeting like that. Okay, so we're on to, and then one further announcement is that the office, the Conservation District office is in the basement, and Kim staffs that office. And that office, the hours will be Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday from 11 to 3:30. So now we're on to item 11 on the agenda, which is adjournment, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. So we're adjourned. Thank you all.